Hey, Shalom, Shalom, back at you with a third part of this lesson, giving all praises to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, Bashem Rakakwadash. Double honors again to the site and to the elders and the apostles, the great millstone, and all you elder bishops, and to the hopeful elect. And as I did the first lesson dealing with the word humility, being grounded, being lowly, meek, the meek shall inherit the earth, dealing with King David. The Lord, the Most High made him a God. Moses as well. But one thing I left out, because the first lesson was about humility. The second lesson was about the seeds that fell upon the wayside. Okay, and being rooted, being grounded, having a base, a solid, strong base, faith, Yahweh Shai, our rock, our salvation, in all in all. Okay, and this one will be just show you one scripture and then show you an example of it. All right. So let's get it first. Verse 6. Proverbs 16 and 16. Man, what the hell, bro? What's going on? Bugged out, man. Hold on. It just start acting up, man. Proverbs 16 and 7. All right. When a man's ways please the Lord Yahweh, he maketh even his enemies to be at peace with him. And I've seen this so many times over the years that I don't even worry no more. You know, I'm gonna just say it plain like that. I'm not even gonna go into detail. All right. So when a man's ways please the Lord, so the number one goal in life is to what's Ecclesiastes 12th chapter, the whole duty of man is to serve the Most High. So you got to be on a search to find out what that is, man. What is pleasing to the Most High. Okay. And the Lord set up his prophets, his teachers, starting with our elders. We are the men of the Lord. Okay. Not to be proud or boastful, but okay, we had the 100% truth. We had the spirit of the power of the Israelites. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. All right. So what do we get? 7. All right, so let's show you an example. Where was I reading the other night? I think maybe like 1 Samuel 27. All right. And David said in his heart, I shall now perish one day by the hand of Saul. Okay, there is nothing better for me than I should speedily escape into the land of the Philistines, and Saul shall despair of me to seek me any more in any coast of Israel. So shall I escape out of his hand. So this is a very interesting ordeal, because David escaped. And remember, the Philistines were the exact same people that David destroyed. All right. Goliath was one of their champions. And it wasn't just one Goliath. He had a whole bloodline. And they were giants. And David and his men slayed more of them too. You know, and that was their champion. So David was a spearhead to Israel winning that war. Because you got to understand, those Philistine people, okay, the modern day Sudanese, which their average height is like 6'5". You know, that's their average height. Those are the original Philistines. That's who was in that land, okay? Those were our first enemies. They were seen as giants. You know, the Lord gave us that land and we had to get them out of the way because they were idol worshipers, you know. But here it is in this context, David is fleeing among them because, as it says in Psalms 55, let's get it real quick and we'll come right back. Okay. You got to understand, a king has the authority to put you to death. He can have somebody else fall upon you. But Saul was on a mission to seek David out. David was on a run for his life. Okay, you got to put yourself in these scriptures. This is Psalms 55 and 12. Okay. Let's start at 11. Wickedness is in the midst of thereof, deceit and guile. Depart not from her streets. Okay. So wickedness is everywhere. Deceit, treachery. For it was not an enemy that reproached me. Okay, then I could have borne it. Like I could have withstood it if it was an actual enemy. It says, neither was it he that hated me that did magnify himself against me. Okay, it wasn't that nigga at the job that hate you. But let's see what David is talking about. It says, then would I have hid myself from him. But it was thou, a man of my equal, my guide, and my acquaintance, meaning somebody I know, somebody I thought was, for me. We took sweet counsel together and walked unto the house of God in company. Let death seize upon them and let them go down. Okay, quick into hell, which is the grave. That's not underground. For wickedness is in their dwellings and among them, which proves, like we've been saying, you're supposed to put curses up on niggas when they ain't right, man. I mean, in that context. As for me, I will call upon Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, and the Lord Yahweh shall save me. You see? Okay, ye that wait upon the Lord, shall renew their strength. So ultimately, we don't have the need to be impatient and be hasty. Time is on our side. Okay, like the Lord said, my hour hath not come, but yours is always. Let's get that real quick. Okay, this is John 7 and 6. Then Yahushua said unto them, my time is not yet come, but your time, okay, is always ready. Meaning, you could catch a stray at any time. Okay, but we're not in a rush, man. We just wait. Okay, the help to be your help from the Egyptians shall be in vanity. But it is your strength to be still. Where's that? Exodus 14 and 14. Let's get that. Hey, we're in that time, man. We got to stay with the armor. Okay. And what is armor? It's a shield. It shields your soft parts. The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. Exodus 14 and 14. And that might be a physical fight. The Lord might be with you to get into it and break a nigga's bones, man. Okay, and be justified. And the Lord said unto Moses, yeah. Okay, wherefore criest unto me, man? Speak unto the children of Israel that they go forward. You see? Lift thou up thy rod, which your rod is your support, your staff, your faith. Okay, and stretch out thine hand over the sea and divide it. I thought about that yesterday. I said, God damn, the Lord, for real, opened up the ocean? Like what? Okay, and the children of Israel shall go on dry ground through the midst of the sea. So let's go back to, okay, as the scriptures say, the Lord will always make a way to escape for his chosen, all right, even in death. Okay, the Most High said he'll have mercy on you even in death if you fight for him unto the end. So the Lord can just turn your pain receptors off. You got to think about it. Pain receptors are for judgment and also to protect you. Okay, too much pressure right there. Don't crush your foot, pull it out of there. You know what I'm saying? But also, as it says in Ecclesiastes, I seen under the sun the place of judgment. which is here on the earth. Because in the spirit realm is paradise. You don't feel pain. You're at rest. Okay. But when you come to the earth, this is where the judgment plays. That's why, they have a saying, you go before God. Well, that's in the scriptures. And then you receive your judgment. You agree to it. You come on the earth. So nobody perishes being innocent, as the scriptures say. Children die young to whatever they've done. Your spirit comes back every third, fourth generation. Biblical reincarnation is a strong fundamental of the scriptures that you have to understand. All right. So 1 Samuel 27 and 1. And David said in his heart, I shall now perish one day by the hand of Saul. There is nothing better for me than that I should speedily escape into the land of the Philistines. Okay. And Saul shall despair of me to seek me. So meaning Saul will stop chasing me, because Saul was scared of them Philistines. And I didn't save the video, but they just had this video of them niggas wrestling. Even the referees were like 6'7". Niggas was like 7 feet. Everybody was above 6'3". So Saul was afraid. Jake was afraid. When you read the account, when David slew Goliath, even the most mightiest men in Israel, they were all afraid. They were standing back. Okay. It says, to seek me anymore in any coast of Israel, so shall I escape out of his hand. And David arose and he passed over, okay, with the 600 men that were with him, okay, at Achish, the son of Maok, king of Gath. Yeah, you had the giants of Gath. So here it is. It's so hot on David. He fear for his life. He like, shit, I'm going to just go among my enemies. All right, you got to understand, outside of taking care of business, David was that dude. The men of the Lord are those type of people, men that are righteous judges. They ain't gonna disrespect you. They ain't gonna wrong you. Job said it, if I have wronged anybody. David said, if I have wronged anybody to the Most High, then let me be a curse. Okay, but sometime, like the scriptures speak about killing, sometimes that can be righteous for the right reason. All right, it says, so David had his wives with him. He had 600 men with him. That wasn't enough men if something went down. Okay, David would have had to fight off their whole military, the Philistines, by himself and his 600 men. And it was told to Saul that David was fled to Gath, and he sought no more again for him. So just like David thought, that was why. Think about that. The Spirit of the Lord guided David to do that, because you'll be like, damn, that's not wise. All right, but David judged between the two, which they became a fan of David after that, them Philistines. Because brothers, we experience that today. People be acting like fans, and you can hate if you want, but why do people be acting like they, because the Spirit of the Lord that's on us. All right, it says, and David said unto Achish, okay, if I have found grace in thine eyes, let them give me a place in some town in the country that I might dwell there. For why should thy servant dwell in the royal city with thee? Okay, so Achish is, I guess he's one of the rulers over Gath. Okay, that's where Goliath came from. And his line. All right, so now David is asking to hide among them. Then Achish gave him Ziklag that day, wherefore Ziklag pertaineth unto the kings of Judah unto this day. And the time that David dwelt in the country of the Philistines was a full year and 4 months. Damn, so he stayed among them, Put yourself in a situation like that. You got the authorities after your ass. You just got to leave everything behind. You and your family, your wives, everything. You don't know what's going to happen. And David and his men, but you got to go among your enemies. And David and his men went up and invaded the Geshurites, the Gezrites, the Amalekites, for those nations were of old inhabitants of the land. Okay. Okay, yeah, so David was still getting busy, but this is the point. So while they were hiding among only 600 of them, they needed resources. So they was going through and not pillaging, but they was implementing judgment righteously. And what comes behind winning wars is spoil, resources, gold, weaponry, garments, what pottery, vessels, cattle, money, silver, gold, soaps, oils. You know, it says so let's get to the point and we out. Okay. 1 Samuel 28:1, and it came to pass in those days that the Philistines gathered their armies together for warfare to fight with Israel. Okay. And Achish said unto David, know thou assuredly that thou shalt go out with me to battle, thou and thy men. So now Israel, which Saul was still king over Israel at this point, they were still warring with the Philistines. But here it is in a time where King Saul needed David, okay, to put the Philistines down. He turned on David because he was envious, okay, because of the fame he received from spoiling Goliath, and then, in that war that went on at that time. And the women, the women wanted David. He became famous all throughout the land. And people knew that he was anointed. He was good at everything. He was a singer. He was a writer. He was a poet. He was a songwriter. He played the instruments. He could dance. He was a prophet. Okay. Everything just came to him. You could just tell it just came easy to him. Okay, but he didn't even look at it like that. He said, armies together. Yeah, so this guy, Achish, is saying, look, we getting ready to go to war with your own people. Surely you're going to come with us. And David said to Achish, surely thou shalt know that what thy servant can do. And Achish said to David, therefore will I make thee a keeper of mine head forever. So even Achish knew, like, damn, them Israelites ain't shit. Here it is. This guy is so great. He just delivered them. Now he coming over here with us. That nigga Saul is wicked as hell. Okay. And these were the enemies to Israel. So imagine what type of dude David was for all the politics to just drop, and then they rather embrace David. Okay. War was a common thing back then, face to face, body to body, blood splattering, So when that went down, you got to even understand the other side was like, damn, in the name of who? They say, so David had to make himself a servant to his enemies. All right, but he still had favor, in the sight of the Lord and in the sight of Achish. Now Samuel was dead. Okay, let's skip. Because now Saul got to go to war with these Philistines. Okay, and he's bugging out because he's not getting any signs from the Lord that he's going to win. So he was trembling. He went to this necromancer, and I'm gonna just get this last phrase. So it was getting ready to go down. The Lord was getting ready to take his ass out for David's sake, man. Okay, you got to carry this with you everywhere you go, man. All right, Fat Calf. 1 second. All right. Now the Philistines gathered together all their armies at Aphek, and the Israelites pitched by a fountain which is in Jezreel. And the Lord of the Philistines passed on by hundreds and by thousands, but David and his men passed on in the reward of Achish. Okay, remember David he had a very small number of men. He had 600. They had thousands. Then said the princes of the Philistines, what do these Hebrews here? Okay, so now, Achish, he's like the general, and his men are saying, man, what is David and his men doing here? Let's see what he's going to say. And Achish said unto the princes of the Philistines, is not this David, the servant of Saul, the king of Israel? Okay. And Achish said unto the princes of the Philistines, is not this David, the servant of Saul, king of Israel, which hath been with me these days and these years? And I have found no fault in him since he fell unto me this day. Yeah, since he came to me. So he couldn't find no fault in him. Like, damn, what manner of man is this? We just read it. That's what we opened up with. When your ways please the Lord, that's a miracle, man. Like when we say the Lord is in control, these clowns be saying, Jesus take the wheel. That's truly, okay? And I've experienced this a lot of times. And the princes of the Philistines were wroth with him. And the princes of the Philistines said unto him, make this fellow return, that he may go again to his place, which thou hast appointed him, and let him not go down with us to battle, lest in battle he be an adversary to us. For with should he be reconciled himself unto his master, should it not be with the heads of these men? Damn. So he said, man, tell them to just go their way, man. Go back, they could just go rest. We got it. Because if we let David and them fight, and remember, they only had 600 men. He gonna take our heads off, and then he gonna reconcile with his people. Those are his people. And you know what? He was probably right, because if David had went to war with them, he probably would have been like, hold on, what am I doing? Hold on, still my people, and smoked them niggas, because they was heathens, man. Okay, with what? Spiritual powers, man. All right? Everything these Hollywood movies make of these Raiden from martial arts. Mortal Kombat. That was the house of David, man. With that, man, wrap it up. Lord's willing, it was exhortation. Shalom.